Pop Cult X episode 136 with your hosts, Gabriel and Danny, with you with all the pop culture news from a Gen X perspective. So let's go ahead and get into it. What's up, Danny? How's it going?
Doing good. How about yourself?
Doing pretty good. Just kind of chugging along in 2024. Kind of just keep going.
That's true. Just the ball keeps moving forward. The award season keeps moving forward, and we went through already 2 awards since our last episode.
Yeah, it was kind of crazy. Like before you knew it, Golden Globes and the Emmys just kind of happened. Like it just was super fast. I don't know. I wasn't expecting them to be happening, and then all of a sudden,
right.
Here they were.
I think I saw something about the Emmys were supposed to be at the end of last year, but because of the writers' strike, they had to push it back, or Writers and Screen Actors Guild strike, and they had to push it back. But hey, we got them 2 Sundays in a row, right? So,
Thanks.
and there was.
Did you watch them?
I did not. I don't get regular TV or cable TV, so I did not watch them. I did see highlights. I saw that Beef won pretty big at the Emmys. The Bear won pretty big, which I guess I have to watch that. And another show, which we'll get into a little bit, that I have been binge watching relentlessly, Succession, also won pretty big. So
those are the big winners.
It was good to see that for the Emmys. I saw that Lily Gladstone won for the Golden Globe, and it was like the first Indigenous woman to win a Golden Globe for Best Actress.
Yeah,
so I thought that was a pretty neat highlight, historical moment.
And I think Ali Wong was the first Asian woman to win as well.
Oh, okay, cool for the Emmy. So that's really cool. I mean, did you finish watching that show, Beef?
So I can't get into it. I'm not the biggest fan of Ali Wong, but I mean, it has to be good. I mean, you can't have that much critical acclaim with it not being good. So it's definitely on my list of things that I have to watch. Just the premise itself just kind of aggravates me. And like seeing the first episode, like the first like 30 minutes, I was like, I don't want this level of aggravation in my life if I don't have to like I deal with it in real life. I don't want to deal with it in like on my TV. But it's supposedly really good, so I kind of have to watch it.
Yeah, I watched it. It was, what's the right word for it? Interesting. It was it definitely did hit that aggravation nail that you're talking about.
Yeah.
Especially because you're like, why are you doing that? Why don't you just, so it gets you invested in their lives, and that you don't want to see them screw it up even more than they already are. So both Stephen Yeun and Ali Wong did a terrific job, and you were rooting for them, but also wanting to see them, lose. It was weird. It's a weird feeling for that show, but it was really good. I enjoyed it. Controversy aside from it, and the actor comedian who stirred up stuff with some of his comments, but it was good. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, the other show that I guess I need to be watching is The Bear. That one, I think it's on season 2, but it's just a whole ton of awards. Seeing little clips of it, I don't know, it kind of reminds me of like because there's a lot of yelling and screaming in the kitchen, and like it reminds me when you go to like a friend's house who like the couple are like about to get into a divorce, and they're just yelling and screaming in their kitchen. And you're just sitting there like, ugh, I have to get through this night. That's what it is like triggering me into remembering or reminding me of. So it's like, again, it's like, is that something that like I really want to subject myself to? Like, is it really funny? I mean, because it's a comedy, right? Like, so
is it?
That's what supposedly I think it's supposed to be a comedy.
Oh, okay. I mean, I just heard, like you mentioned, like you just said, that people are like, I don't want to watch that. I want to go to watch TV for an escape. Right. I don't want to see this intensity, this aggravation in a way, this feeling of, like you said, watching this and people yelling and caught in that moment. And it's like, I just want to relax and enjoy TV and escape from maybe that's my reality.
Yeah.
But I've heard
Were
good
there
things.
any upsets that of the Emmys that you were surprised someone didn't win that you thought was going to win?
No, because I didn't even know who was nominated.
Yeah.
So I just saw the winners and I was happy for them. Like I saw like Kieran Culkin won
Mhm.
for Succession, Snook, I think that's her name, won for Succession. And I was like, I can see that. Kieran Culkin is absolutely brilliant in Succession. He makes me crack up. I've been binge watching that. Um I'm on season 3 now. I think in the middle of season 3. I just started it like maybe last week. So
Yeah.
it's really good writing, really good acting, and yeah, just I'm so happy that Kieran Culkin won the Emmy for that because it's just fantastic. He also won the Golden Globe too
Yeah. Yeah.
for it.
Is it over? Are they, is the show over?
Yes, season 4 was the final season.
Okay. And so what's the premise? I'm not even like that familiar with it.
So basically, it's a media conglomerate. Think like Fox News or something of that ilk. Or that's just one division of it. It's a media conglomerate owned by a family, the Roy family, and they own the TV news network. They own cruise lines. They own theme parks, and it's
Oh,
all under this one umbrella of Waystar. And basically, the patriarch Logan Roy, and that gentleman does a fine job. I forgive me, I don't remember his name, but he does an absolute job of making you want to hate him, but also at the same time making you kind of feel sorry for him in a way. So he does a great job of that. But basically, he's the patriarch, the older man, the CEO, and he has some health issues, and then the kids are fighting to take his place.
hmm.
And it's and the whole family dynamic is just cringy. It's very creepy in a way, and it's very makes you just say, "Wow, that family's just messed up." But it's done in a way that it just hooked me in. I don't know why. It just the writing is great, the acting is great, and it's if you haven't started it, I recommend it.
Yeah. I definitely need to check it out then. It
Mhm.
sounds really good. Yeah.
Yeah, it is really good. It's that level of intensity where you can escape into it and
Yeah.
not just be overwhelmed by it.
Nice. Well, in that same line of people fighting to try to get their way to the top, I've been watching a show called The Traders,
Mm.
which is
Hmm.
really really good. It's season two, so if you haven't seen it, there are two seasons already out. It's hosted by Alan Cumming, who's a famous actor.
Hmm.
And he basically they collect a group of, in this case, reality show stars. So you have people like Johnny Bananas from MTV's The Challenge, CT. You have Real Housewives. So you have like Tamra, Phaedra. You have Peppermint, who's like a trans activist from RuPaul's Drag Race. You have Maxim Chermosky from Dancing with the Stars. So you have like a whole like just it runs a gamut of like reality stars. There's like a famous boxer. Michael Jordan's son is on it.
Wow.
So a whole bunch of people, and the whole premise is that they put the group of people in this house, this castle, and they're called the faithful. So they're like people that you're supposed to trust. You're working to get them. Then Alan Cumming picks like 3 to 4 people to be the traitors, who are sort of like the moles within that group. And one by one, the traitors kill off people in that group of the faithful, and the faithfuls have to decide who the traitors are. So every week someone dies, the faithful tries to decide who the traitors are by voting up someone. If they vote someone who's not the traitor, they still go home. So far of season two, they've been
Oh, okay.
successful and they've gotten rid of some people. So one of the people, not to spoil anything, but this was like episode 2. They voted Peppermint out. They thought that she was a traitor, and she wasn't. She was part of the faithful. So before they leave, they get that reality star to say like, "Are you a traitor? Are you
Hmm.
faithful?" They give a little speech about, "Oh, you guys are idiots. I'm a faithful. No, you got it right. I'm a traitor." And so it's really interesting. It's really fun because um, they have little challenges. So they have challenges along the
Hmm.
way to win money, to add money to this pot of money at the very end. Either the traders are going to win or the faithful will win, and they split the money up. So it's really interesting. It's really fun. Um, it's just I'm a big fan of reality shows, so it's sort of like when you saw the Saturday morning cartoon when like all of the cartoons came together.
Yeah,
That's
the
kind of what it,
crossovers.
yeah, like it's like a big crossover of like MTV The Challenge, Real Housewives, Dancing with the Stars. So it's fun to see, Big Brother, Survivor, all these different people that you watch come together and compete in this totally new style of show. So it's really fun.
Now you said it's season two, so the cast is different, I'm assuming, than season one.
Yeah, the cast is always different. The only one that stays the same is the host, Ellen Cumming.
Very cool. Very cool. Yeah, I saw some of season one. It was interesting. It reminded me of a video game called Amongst Us, where it's similar concept where it's a multiplayer game and you have to decide who like the traitor or murderer is before he ends up killing all of you. Yeah,
Yeah.
so that's pretty cool. Yeah, it's a not to be confused with the other show I think I saw on Netflix called The Trust,
Mm,
where it's like they have to similar. There's like a big pot of money. They're all about to get it if they make it through the end of the season or something like that.
yeah. Yeah, it's a really cool show. They I think they closed it up for like regular people to be on it because now it's just reality stars.
Oh,
But
okay.
it's definitely like the kind of show that I would love to be on because I think that I would be really good at either being a trader or I would be really good at sniffing out the trader and finding out who they are. That's part of the fun is like seeing them try to guess who the trader is and then being like completely off. And you're like yelling at the screen like, oh, how can you be so dumb? Like they're right there in front of your face. So it's a lot of fun. It's a fun game show.
Very cool. Very cool. Any other shows or movies that you've partaked in since we've last spoken?
Yeah, I was also watching this new show with Jason Momoa on HBO Max. I want to say that it's called The Roamers. Let me take a look. And it's basically a documentary about him like roaming the country
Oh
on.
yeah, on the Roam or on the something. I saw the trailer for that. Yeah.
Yeah, let me look it up here so we can get the name of it. Um, on the Roam. So it's Jason Momoa on the Roam. Season one. There's only two episodes out so far. So basically, Jason Momoa travels across the country to meet extraordinary individuals blazing their own path. The first one, they go to or talk about these old motorcycles from like the 1920s,
Wow.
and they rebuild one. And then the culmination is this group of friends who they call themselves, I think, the Roamers. Um, they race up this hill in these old motorcycles, and it's just about kind of them bonding and building a relationship on their shared common interest of these old Harley Davidsons.
Hmm.
It's a really cool episode. Jason Momoa, I think, is really a fun character to kind of watch because he's so over the top and so
Yeah.
charismatic. Um, the second episode, which I'm really excited to see, he's also a photographer, which I wasn't aware of, and he is meeting up with one of his like mentors and one of his friends who is also a well-renowned uh, photographer, and they kind of go over shooting and painting with light and etc. And so I'm really
Interesting.
excited
Okay.
to watch that one.
Okay, that's interesting. Yeah, I saw the like trailer clip of it, and I saw him holding a camera, taking a picture, and I was like, "Wow, is he a photographer or what?" And or did someone like just give him a camera, and say, "Hey, look at this, take this picture" or something?
Yeah. Yeah, he's a and he actually directed or co-directed the series itself too.
Oh, okay.
It's really well shot. Like there's some really cool like cinematic looking shots throughout the documentary that are just really beautiful to look at, and you can tell that he has a real like good eye as far as being able to create these really unique and beautiful images,
Yeah.
especially when he's dedicating it to his hobby, which is motorcycles and something that he's really passionate about. So I'm really excited to kind of see it. It's very similar to the one that they had with Ewan McGregor on Apple Plus, where he kind of travels South America and Mexico
Hmm.
on a
Hmm.
motorcycle. And except that this one, I think the way that it differs is that Jason Momoa has like pre-existing relationships with these group of people, and he's kind of just revisiting, people that he's friends with. But it's an interesting show.
Yeah, it sounds really cool. I mean, I like I said, I saw the trailer and it looks interesting. I'll give it a watch. I almost said the Apple Plus show with Obi-Wan Kenobi instead of Ewan McGregor. I was
Yeah.
like, oh, the show with Obi-Wan. Yeah.
Yeah. I guess that's what he's known for now, right? I didn't watch any of the Star Wars films, but um I still think of him as like the guy from Train Spotting.
Hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, he's had such a robust career. I mean, when okay, you said Train Spotting. I mean, I think yes, Obi-Wan, but I also think for me, when I think of Ewan McGregor, I think Doctor Sleep.
Yeah, that
For
one was
whatever
good.
reason, that's the first one that pops into my head when I think of him as an actor. Maybe
Yeah,
because his name is Danny in it. I don't know.
I'm such a big fan of his, like going back so far, like Shallow Grave was a really good movie with him in it. I think that's like one of his first films that he made.
Okay.
Uh, and with Danny Boyle, the director of Train Spotting. Train
Hmm.
Spotting is one of like my favorite films. He's obviously the lead in that film. And then you have him in like Harley Quinn and the Birds of Prey. He was in that. He played the villain. He was pretty good in that as well. He's a
Moulin
pretty
Rouge.
prolific actor. Yeah, he's been in a lot of really good stuff.
Yeah, he is really good. Yeah, very
What about
true.
you? Have you been watching anything else or?
Well, besides Succession, I did watch the latest Transformers movie,
Oh, nice.
Rise of the Beasts. It was really cool. I enjoyed it, and it's set in like the early '90s. So right there, that's like our wheelhouse of time eras, I guess. And
Yeah,
so I thought that was really cool. It was really also really cool to see that Anthony Ramos was like the lead character.
yeah,
Him and actress named Dominique Fishback were like the two leads. So it was two people of color in the lead roles in the Transformers film. So that was really cool to see because if you think to the back to all the other Transformer films, it was like Shia LaBeouf and Mark Wahlberg as the leads. So it was like really cool to see that diversity in the Transformer universe.
yeah.
I'm not sure if you are you gonna watch the film?
Probably not.
Okay. And it's been out long enough, I think I could say. So toward the end of the film, um Anthony Ramos' character he's trying to get a job. He has an interview at the very end, and the guy gives him his card, and basically he flips the card over and it's like the G.I. Joe symbol.
Oh, wow.
So I thought that was really cool that they're bringing that in because I know in the comic books they're creating the Energon universe, which is Transformers, GI Joe, all in the same shared world.
Yeah,
So it's really cool. I don't know if they planned that in conjunction with the comic books. I don't know the connection between the two, but it
yeah.
was really cool to see that on film because that
Oh,
has opens up to a lot more possibilities of Transformers and GI Joes interacting. I thought it was really neat to see that.
yeah. Yeah, something else when that when you were brought that to mind about comic books and their new universe, reminded me of the trailer for Madam Web. Have you seen
Mm-hmm.
with Dakota Johnson? I've seen that there's been a lot of like mixed reviews. Some people are really excited about it, and other people are like hate it. Um, I'm kind of interested to see what they do. I like what they did with Venom. Um, and so I'm interested. Madam Web is a character that has existed in like the Spider-Man universe since like the 80s. So one of the criticisms is that they're replacing all the superheroes with women with like this Marvel woke agenda. But it's a character that has existed for a
Right.
while.
Right.
And there are versions of Spider-Man in this universe or in this movie. I don't know what the deal is with people that hate women that like don't want to see women in films. It's really
Yeah,
weird.
it's weird.
It's super odd. It like I don't know. It's just it's really creepy and weird. But
Hmm.
I'm excited to see it. I think Dakota Johnson is a good actress.
Yeah.
They also have, I think, the actress from oh God, now I can't think of the name of the Euphoria. One of the actors from Euphoria is in it as well.
I know
So
Adam Scott is also in it.
who's that?
Adam Scott is playing Ben
Oh yeah,
Parker. So I'm a big fan of his. So that'll be
Yeah.
cool to see.
So I mean it's am I super excited like I was when like one of the new X-Men films comes out? Probably not, but I am definitely excited to see it, see what they do, what kind of versions of like spider people are in it, and what kind of story they're gonna tell. So
Kind of story they're weaving.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it does look really good. I'm interested to see it. The whole Sony Spider-Verse type thing is interesting. They did a good job with the Venoms, like you said, and Craven. I'm also curious to see that when it gets released because the trailer looks pretty bloody. So
Yeah, and he's not been replaced by you know a person of color or a woman. So like, where's the upset about that? Like,
yeah.
you have a white guy playing a white character,
Hmm.
so have it's more of the same. But it's like, why are you complaining? Like, before you know it, you're gonna have another, Deadpool's coming out soon, so another action star starring a white guy.
It's true
Really,
because they were
like, what are you complaining about?
people were complaining about Echo
Yeah,
and the indigenous deaf female character. Oh, Marvel's woke when that character's been around for 20 years.
yeah.
So it's yeah, it's it's
It's really frustrating because part of it is that one argument is, well, they replace characters with people of color, like why don't you just make up your own? Okay, well, they did Echo,
exactly.
and but you're still don't want to see it, so then you're just racist and sexist. Just say that, just say I'm weird, and I don't like seeing people of color, and I don't like seeing women. Like, just admit that you're a weirdo, and don't kind of create this like other storyline where it's about being woke and all this. No, you're just a weirdo, and you don't like people of color, and you don't like women, and go watch one of the many films that stars a straight white man. There's billions of them, and go watch it and be happy. Like,
Exactly.
why
Hmm.
complain about some, like, just don't watch it.
Yeah. They complain. Well, I think they just complain because they just like to complain. I mean, they complain about the fans. I mean,
Yeah,
I see on Twitter, X, whatever, female Star Wars fans always saying that or they get dumped on just because they're Star Wars fans. Like,
yeah,
who are these people to think that they're the gatekeepers of the fandom hood? It's like, no, you're not. You don't get to speak for me. You don't get to speak for everyone who enjoys it. It's just,
yeah.
it's frustrating.
Yeah, that's one of the things that I look at for a comic book store if I'm going to continue going there, is if they have like a gatekeeper vibe
Hmm.
where they like are holier than thou, they think they're super cool, and like they don't really want to ask for your business. They don't ask, what you're looking for and make recommendations, and they're just have their own little circle. If they're like that, I will not go back.
Yeah.
I love a comic book shop that like they're friendly. They like, if you buy a book, they're like, oh, that's a cool book. Like, I really like this because X, Y, and Z. If you like this one, you should check this out.
Hmm. Hmm.
They make recommendations. They enjoy what they're doing, and
Yeah.
they love to be able to bring other people in. Like, I've seen people walk in that have no idea about any comics, and they're like, oh, well, what kind of movies do you like, or like what kind of shows do you like? Based off of that, they make recommendations to them about
Hmm.
comic book. And it's like, that's cool. Like, if you
Yeah.
are a fan of something, why don't you want other people to get in on that and like it too?
Exactly. Hmm.
Instead, you're like, you want to hoard it by yourself, and like, oh, only I'm the only one that can have this, and no one else can get a piece of this action. It's stupid.
Yeah. It's kind of like when you hear a new band that you really like. It's
Yeah,
like, okay, do you want to spread that name of that band far and wide so more people can love what you enjoy? Or do you kind of like want to hold on to them for as long as possible and not and be the only one to who knows about them?
yeah.
Yeah.
It's really, I mean, that happens a lot with like punk bands where you're like, oh, I don't want them to sell out, but
Hmm.
selling out means that they're going to be commercially successful. Do you not want them to have like a life? Do you not want them to have success?
Do you not want them to
It's
eat
coming
dinner?
through. Yeah, it's like, if you're a fan of theirs, like, why would you not want them to have that? And
Yeah.
instead of
Hmm.
living out of a van. But I don't know. Speaking of music, Coachella just announced. their lineup. And one of the big things that I'm excited about is the reunion of No Doubt. I'm a big No Doubt fan. I haven't seen them play live in a very long time, and so I'm really hoping. I'm not going to go to Coachella because
I
it's
was
just
about to
not.
say, are you going to Coachella
I'm not. I don't want to be out in the heat. I don't want to be in a crowd. Not my type of thing anymore. But I am hoping that they reunite shortly thereafter and go on tour because I love them as a band, and I can't wait to see them play live again.
or even give us new music?
Yeah, new music
Maybe.
would be great. My hopes aren't that high. I just like would love to see them come out and perform
Hmm.
uh live again. Gwen Stefani has kind of focused on her solo career for a while now, and the rest of the guys have been doing their own thing. So I think it's time for them to reunite, give us a new album, give us a tour, would be really great.
Yeah, I remember seeing them live once. This was late 90s, I think. They were touring with Weezer, and it
Yeah.
was like a very fun show. I still remember that fond memories of that show. Um, yeah, it was just great. So hopefully, fingers crossed there.
Yeah, I've seen them probably about 6 or 7 times.
Oh,
They're
oh,
always fun to watch. Uh, just the energy level, it's fun music. Um, just it's a good time. I don't know, and it definitely like makes me reminisce of like being back in like 95, 96,
yeah.
listening to like their first album, being like 18, 19. So
Hmm.
it's good time. So I definitely want to see them come out
It's
and tour again.
it's the nostalgic tour, right?
Yeah, it's definitely everything. I mean, I feel like everything is reminiscent of like the 90s right now.
Hmm.
And like Gen X is like having their moment of like a lot of music, movies are harkening back to that time.
Yeah,
And it's kind of cool to see because it was a fun time.
it was. And now we have the money to actually enjoy it more, I think,
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
than being an 18, 19-year-old and scraping by unless you're some sort of like trust fund baby or something.
I was not.
Neither was I.
Yeah, yeah,
Well, last thing I have, and this is really cool because last episode I spoke about AI and art a little bit,
yeah,
and I mentioned how we're going to have a guest interview on for that. But before I get to that, and we will get to that for this episode, and it's with a gentleman named Craig Wilson. He's a digital creator. Um, I read this article about AI models, and I shared it with you. I'm not sure if you had a chance to read it or not, but it's very, I don't want to say concerning, but it's very in a way alarming that these model agencies, I guess you can call them, or digital modeling agencies can take likenesses of different models and then recreate them digitally and use them for ads that maybe the models don't agree with or had no idea that they were going to be in, they were going to be the face of, and like they face no repercussions right now because it's a gray area of who owns that likeness.
yeah.
So it's
Yeah, it's definitely a new era of art making and of commerce, and it's interesting to see what's going to happen and what's going to occur. um if I was a model, I definitely would not like my likeness being used without my permission or
hmm
without me making
exactly.
money off of it. But that's it's definitely it's interesting because can you paint someone that looks like a star and or a model and
True.
sell that? Can you there I've seen lots of artists that like do pictures of like Marilyn Monroe, but I think that she no longer has a copyright, that it's like free domain now, I believe, because you see so much like Marilyn Monroe artwork out.
Hmm.
But you see lots of other people like David Bowie paintings that people make, Elvis Presley, like a lot of people use people's likenesses in paintings.
Yeah.
um, I don't really know what the rules or what the laws are when it comes to using someone's likeness when it comes to painting. I've seen people literally paint and recreate photographs by like David LaChapelle and not give them credit. And so I think that is stealing. So it's a new universe that's opening up that like I'm just kind of sitting by and letting other people explore. And we'll get back, kind of let me know what the guidelines are because I'm definitely not educated enough to kind of give my 2 cents in regards to it
Hmm.
outside of just the initial reaction of like, yeah, I think that if you use someone's likeness, you should have their permission
Yeah,
to have to do it. But it's
especially
definitely,
in a photorealistic manner, I think.
yeah.
So if it's a painting portrait, I think it's more of a homage or a nod to. But I think if once it becomes photorealistic, that's a whole different ballgame.
Yeah, there's a creator that I follow on Instagram that creates, I mean, ultra photorealistic images that look like amazing fashion photographs.
Mhm.
And he uses AI and probably Photoshop and some other tools to create his images. And they are amazing, but I do wonder where those faces come from. Like, are they out of the blue air? Like, are they pulling from people that really exist?
Yeah.
They amalgamations of different people's features and they come up with it. Because there some of them are reminiscent of famous people, but not enough where you could say, oh, that definitely is so and so. Um, so the technology is interesting of like where is that where does the computer or where does that AI create or pull from? Like where is that image being created from, or where is it being like Frankenstein monstered,
Right.
putting all these
Right.
things together? Well, is it 90% someone and 10% something else, or is it like a whole bunch of mess of different people and it's something wholly unique? It's really interesting.
Yeah, it is. And I'll get into that. We'll get into that in our interview. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Pop Cult X Little Talks. It's our conversation series where we chat with a wide variety of creative minded people. Today, we are joined by a digital creator, someone whose experience spans all the way from filmmaking, producing, to now in his digital creator stage. And that is Craig Wilson. Thanks for joining us, Craig.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Yeah, we met a long time ago now.
Why-
Yeah, which is cool that we get to reconnect in this platform here and talk about a topic that I think is both emerging and both I don't want to say dear to our hearts, but it is both something that we're very interested in, and especially with its expansion, and that is AI in the art field or in as a expanding technology in I guess just in art and how it can be used.
Sure.
Um, so with that being said, if you don't mind, give us a little bit of background of what led you to this emerging field in art and maybe just step us through how you got there.
Well, I'll tell you what, like I was a filmmaker for an indie filmmaker for a long time
Hmm.
in Hollywood. And like once I decided that journey was over for me, which was only like a year and a half ago. Or no, it was like after 2020. Um, somebody started bugging me. One of my producer friends in LA started bugging me about NFTs.
Okay.
And he actually said I would do well and like I would get the concepts. And so I started looking into it because I swear he texted me every day of summer of 2021 until I finally like dove in and started understanding it. And I still think um, NFTs today are widely misunderstood as to what they actually are,
Hmm.
how they will be used. That was only the first round. 2022 was only like the first round of it. But so that I started stepping into like the future and like with NFTs, a passion of mine was just creating with them,
Yeah.
right? And then we all know like a bunch of scams were exposed because there are a lot of scams in that space. And NFTs kind of went downhill, and then AI started to pop up,
Hmm.
and I got into it with the same mindset. What fascinated me is thinking of it as a tool,
Yeah.
the same way somebody might pick up a paintbrush or pick up a pencil or a typewriter or a camera. It's a tool to create with. And man, so that is like, that's my background as to why I got into it. I've been working in the Web3 field. I'm starting to do more like content creation online. And now I'm in between, like looking for my next big project.
Yeah, yeah, and that could be well, with the emerging tech and art field, that could be anywhere and anything if you think
Yeah,
about it, right? So that's really cool. I mean, and I guess there is still a lot of controversy about AI art and generative AI art
I
and
get
how it learns. I guess what they call it machine learning, right? And how people feed in different artists and different works of literature to teach the machine how to reproduce this. Where do you stand on the ethical field of that? How do you rationalize that for yourself?
it is a blurry line. Um, and the honest to God truth, like I've said this many times online in my content, but if I could go back, AI wouldn't exist to the level it does right now.
Okay.
But truth is it's here. Chat GPT, Mid Journey, none of them are going anywhere. Mid Journey might go somewhere eventually, maybe. And Yahoo disappeared too, right? So
Yeah, sure.
big boys, and so did freaking Basie, Board Ape Yacht Club. Like it's all gone. They're still there, but so but the point is like AI is not going anywhere. Generative AI is here. You're gonna be able to create with it. People are creating with it, and eventually the studios and of any sort, book publishers, comic book studios, film studios are all going to create with it, and there's nothing we can do to stop it. And so I personally, as you said, I think rationalize is a good word. I admit I'm kind of rationalizing this because I'm not fully on board with the way they did it, but at the same time, it's already happened, and like you can't
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
can't stop it.
Yeah, I hear you there.
So
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
like early internet days, people right clicked and saved, and that was a big controversy.
Yeah, that's true. That is true. Because that's what back in the day, that's what we used to do, save images off and then somehow try to emulate them in a way. And I guess what's the difference between um
Or
one of the things article I read recently about AI models in the photography realm, because that's where I come from as well. So there's a lot of digital modeling agencies now who are using models images to teach their machine learning AI, and now they're reproducing digital models with these live people's images or faces or whatnot for stuff that maybe they don't get paid for. They don't choose to be a part of, and it's just throwing them out there. So that's a little bit different, but it's still I think
the
it's
same.
a little alarming in a way.
Yeah, I I get it. Like I don't know what to do about it other than, like my response has been, and like one reason I started posting about it, and I feel like I'm finally ready to like really be digging in deep and working on a YouTube channel,
Mhm.
is to teach the right perspective.
Yeah.
Like here, and like when someone goes to, let's say Dolly 3, from Chat GPT, and they go in and they type something and they say, draw me a hill with the sun coming up and there's a couple clouds in the sky or something like that. And it does it. I equivalent I make that equivalent to someone drawing a line on a piece of paper and calling it art. It's not.
Yeah, I
It's
hear
not,
you.
it's not yet. It's step one,
Hmm.
right? I also believe since it's so freaking easy, like if you're gonna do that with Dolly, then you better have something else accompanying it. Whether it's like a really well-written short story. Maybe there's even music that comes with it that's created by AI. Like you need to go a little bit deeper,
Hmm.
in my opinion. And I also I do kind of I not kind of I stand by this. Like generative AI is its own medium. It's I don't like using the word AI art either.
Okay.
I
Okay.
call them Gen AI or AGens, iGens, AI gens, generative AI. Like
Ooh.
I don't feel like I feel like it's art if you actually make it art. Like you really gotta put some soul into it and some
Okay.
heart. Like that's just yeah.
Now, yeah, I tend to agree with that statement because you look at I was playing around with Stable Diffusion recently and just, plugging in, creating a superhero with XYZ. And it did something that looked great, but it still was missing something. It still didn't have that, what I would expect if I opened up a comic book and saw the emotion there in the pages and panels. Um, is that something that comes from the artist or the person putting in the input that, they have to be able to really fine tune what they're putting in there in order to get that what we would consider an artwork?
Yes. I think and I've done it a couple times, actually a bunch. I could I wish I could share a screen, I would show you some, but like I have pieces I've done that I feel like are just way more expressive.
Okay.
And because I actually put a lot of time um, into making that way. And I'll tell you, like any listener and even for yourself that's listening to this, I think one of my favorite prompts to do, right? And this can work for anybody. Is first you start out by getting into a conversation with ChatGPT, right?
Okay.
So this only works on ChatGPT 4 because but so you can get into a conversation. You can get into a conversation about anything you want.
Hmm.
I tend to like get in conversations about my ideas and like explore them, build on them with ChatGPT. And then when I feel like I'm in a good place at the end of the conversation, I always end up saying, now visualize or interpret this conversation as a digital image.
Wow.
Takes the entire conversation and turns it into like a digital representative image.
That's
Um,
that's cool.
yeah, and it comes up with some really cool results sometimes. It's generative AI, so you got to refresh, you got to do a few of them,
Yeah.
but it comes up with some really cool stuff. And one thing I've been playing with lately is with the new GPTs. You know what the GPTs are?
Yeah.
Like build your own chatbot basically, and it's really
Hmm.
simple. I trained a chatbot on an IP I'm creating, and like I have it's we're finally getting into the story of it, but it was all been like environments, right? And
Okay.
so it knows my environment, and now I'll have a conversation and I'll say, interpret this conversation into a digital image inside of the bronze derby, which is like a club in my world.
Okay.
And then it does that. It does like a painting inside
Cool.
bronze derby, or like it'll put it up on a stage, or it'll just use the various elements from it. So now all my art even has a signature,
Right,
a
right.
style and look and vibe. And
That's
that's
cool.
yeah.
See, that's
So
that's
I've
that's
been so deep. What?
yeah. That's that's more of the artwork because you're you're teaching it what you envisioned. You're not just pulling in from other, oh, draw me, like you said, draw a hill with clouds. And because
Yeah.
anyone can do that, but you're giving it the whole universe you're creating for it to play within. So you're creating that sandbox for it to mess around in. I think that's really cool. That's
I,
fascinating.
I saw it as like a partner,
Yeah.
right? Like if I had the money to pay a human being to do the exact same thing, maybe I would have been, maybe that's the route I would have gone. Because in some ways, I'd rather work with a human. But the truth of the matter is, like, in the art world, I'm still like very indie. Like, I don't have
Hmm.
that backing to go create. And when I saw Chat GPT and I started playing with it and I started digging in, and like when it got Dolly at 3, I was like, oh, there's a lot I can do here.
Yeah.
Like, it still took work on my side because I had to go create the output, and um or I had to create the background of the story. And like, I did use GPT for that. Like, we would just go back and forth, bounce ideas off of each other in the same way you would with a creative partner.
Hmm. Interesting. That's a cool way of looking at it, as like a partner as opposed to like a tool, like you said. It's more of a, I like that as a partner, because there is a back and forth. It's not just you painting it or whatnot. There is a back and forth aspect of it, which is really cool.
And yeah, and like, we came up with all this stuff, and then I like put them into PDFs. I uploaded it. I'm now working. I'm at the very, very, very beginning stages. Really, like, we're outlining 3 graphic novels,
Oh, cool. Okay.
my storyline, and we're still developing the story a little bit deeper. But I say we, like it's a living thing, but
Yeah.
it's like it's a partner, but it's also a tool. It's
Hmm.
I think the best word I've heard, the best phrase I've heard for it is co-pilot.
I got that. Yeah. That's cool. That's cool. Now, when you I guess one of the things I was reading when I was just prepping for this conversation was, do you feel people need to label it as generated with AI or in partnership with AI, or is it something that you doesn't you don't necessarily need to mention every single time?
I think that right now you should.
Okay.
I think in the future, and let's say with as fast as this moves, 2 years from now, maybe the end of 2024, even, um, it's not going to be common to do that because everybody's going to be doing it.
Ah, okay.
Like, it'll just be commonplace that people
Yeah.
use AI, and it's almost going to be, like on like a job front, um, it's going to replace a lot of jobs, but it's also going to create an expectation that if you actually want a job, then you should know how to use AI to help you do that job.
Okay, that makes sense.
Like, it's going to be a second brain, a third brain, if you want to include your phone as your second brain, but another brain.
Yeah, I hear you. So having a digital assistant, a digital partner, all wrapped into one, definitely.
Mhm.
What do you think is next, or is the next step in the path to Gen AI, I guess? What's coming next, if you had to guess?
In what aspect? In like
In I guess
art?
just in I guess just more of how what's next and how people will use it, what's next in its acceptance, and what do you think are the next steps for us to get to that point?
Well, um I'm pretty confident what is next, and I'll even show some, like, point out some examples. I think that are it shows that it's building towards it. Is that our AIs are going to be very personalized,
Okay.
so they're going to know us as human beings inside out.
Mm.
Uh, so like that takes place with exactly what I am doing, right? Like, the AI knows, and I actually fed that AI a lot of also nuances about me that maybe a creative partner would get to learn and know.
Oh, okay.
But that also has, that's also about self awareness. So not
Yeah.
everybody that self aware, but um, yeah, I think AI is going to get to know us personally. It's going to know what we're allergic to, how we like to write, and then I think most importantly for like Gen Alpha, and how we think and how we learn.
Mm.
And I think the AI is going to be that tutor. That
Oh, okay. Okay. That makes
right?
sense.
Yeah, and at some point, well, the scary thing is like at some point though, people aren't going to think,
Yeah.
and so because everybody's going to have the just have knowledge at their fingertips faster than they do now.
Hmm.
With that, I was watching. Sorry, I can talk forever, so just interrupt me.
Okay. It's okay.
Um,
Go ahead. Continue. I mean,
oh, this kind of blew my mind, and it totally made sense, and it's only going to get worse or better depending on your perspective. But I was watching this video on YouTube, and they were talking about like this TikToker who asked like Gen X and above. Um, so if you saw a picture of like an actress in like a magazine or something, and you couldn't remember what their name was, what did you do? And like, did you just accept that you don't know who they are and like move? You're like, what?
right.
What did you do?
That's true, right? We did. We just said, okay, we don't remember who that is, or yeah, that's
It's like I'll
interesting.
think about it, and like maybe it'll pop into my head in the shower one day.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, that's who it was. Yeah, yeah, I've done that. Not like nowadays with like Google Lens or whatnot, where you can just search the internet for that image everywhere and you'll find out who it is. Yeah,
And
definitely.
eventually, you'll just have glasses. You'll be looking at them, and then it'll just pop up. Their information will pop up right on your glass,
Yep, that's
or maybe
true.
reality right in front of your face.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think personalized AI is the next step, and that's
Okay.
in a way kind of what I was also prepping for.
Okay.
I if you look at the that AI clip, the Humane, do you know what I'm talking about? It was like
No.
it's hardware. It was a clip that was AI, and it had a camera, so it
Oh,
saw you.
yes, I remember that. Okay. Yeah, yeah.
They're trying to do that with that, and then the AI rabbit just came out during CES, which is pretty much the same thing, except it's like another. I don't think it's going to work. Neither of these are going to work in my mind, but it's moving in that direction because like the AI rabbit is another like physical hardware that you have to hold into your hand, and we already have the
Hmm.
phone.
Yeah, true.
But it's AI that you can ask, and it gets to know you and learn about you and blah blah blah. And then um, Samsung just released an OS that is AI based for their phones.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Um, and I think that that journal app that has popped up on everybody's iPhones,
I did see that. I haven't used it. I saw that. I was like, I don't remember putting that there.
I am 100% guessing at this, but this is the futurist in me. Like I'm pretty sure I'm right. I don't see why I wouldn't be, unless a lawsuit happens. But um, even then, they just always squash the lawsuits anyhow.
Yeah.
Especially a company like Apple, they're big enough. But anyways, they're just using that. So those that use it, your phone will begin to learn about you, and the
Hmm.
next version of Siri is going to come out, and it's going to be your personal assistant, but it's going to be on
Hmm.
your phone. That's like Samsung and Apple. As they do that, I think that's what's going to work.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
it may be the glasses. Meta might have a chance with the glasses because I've played with them a little bit. They're actually pretty good. I haven't used the AI versions, but those glasses are going to be pretty good.
Yeah.
So yeah, those are what's next, and everybody's going to have their personal Jarvis.
Yeah. That's, hey, I wouldn't mind that. That's part of like, what's really enthralled me with like I know it's made up and it's superhero comic book stuff, but just Tony Stark's AI, Jarvis, whatnot, it's just fascinating and someone who you can, like you said, partner with, run ideas back and forth with. And it's just, that is really cool to see the future and science fiction coming to reality is really, really fascinating, really awesome. It's really cool.
And what's interesting with AI too is like in a way we've been prepped for it.
Yeah.
Like because it's been in sci-fi for so long.
Hmm.
People understand like the level of which it can get to. The unfortunate thing is everybody always turns to Terminator, and they don't
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I
they
mean, once,
Terminator and not droids. Like,
yeah, that's true. I mean, one of my favorite movies is Her, the movie Her with Joaquin
huh?
Phoenix, and that whole OS. Well, I mean, well, yeah, he falls in love with an OS, but just the level of connectivity you can have with that I think that's what's really cool. And I hope we go that way. So
We are like the GPT store is already flooded with AI girlfriends. And that whole genre is like it's rising. In fact, I read a Reddit post the other day. Actually, I think it was earlier today of how these parents were like they had questions. It was like in the Ask subreddit, and they're like,
mhm.
um, we just found out that our 20-year-old son has been dating an AI for a few months. And we tried to talk to some of his friends about it, and his friends were super casual about it. And they all claim that this is happening a lot right now.
Mm,
That
interesting.
I think Her is going to be a real thing. Uh,
I mean, yeah, that's interesting. I mean, for me, that movie's great, and the whole concept, what they're trying to do with like the metaverse and Ready Player One, that is just the way to escape into that. That's just really fascinating to me to be able to go anywhere, do anything, and just that your imagination is your limit. Just really exciting to me.
Agreed. And then the I see hints of this. Unfortunately, it's not. It didn't take off. Um, I don't know what the company's at doing, but there's something called Instaverse where you type in exactly the same way you would type into like a generative AI and it creates a metaverse for you.
Oh wow, interesting. Okay,
It's
never
not
heard of that.
the metaverse is not very big that they create, and I like to
Mhm.
say it's like in the Atari era of video
Okay.
games. It's like it's still,
Yeah.
but just the fact that you can do that and you're like, whoa, what the and the company is super small, but that technology exists. So that will grow at some
Yeah.
point and be able to feed it. I'm prepping for that. You'll just be able to feed it all the elements
Hmm.
and it'll create for you.
That's awesome. That's really cool. I'm excited then.
Oh
the,
my,
the future is coming to us, and it's something that we only dreamed about back in the day, and it's exciting to be able to live in the early stages of it and help it progress and watch it take shape, and yeah, that's really cool.
that yeah, I agree with like that's why like I'm so focused on perspective and like how
Mhm.
to use it with the right
Right.
settings because
Absolutely.
it's going to cause a lot of issues too.
Yeah, that's true. There will always be the controversy sides of it, and there are going to be people who will rail against it at all costs. And but that's true for everything. I mean, when photography started, all the portrait artists and painting and said that's not real art. It's not art. It's not anything like that. So it's just a matter of, like you said, perspective. It really is.
Yeah, and technology always goes through this. Like
Yeah.
you can go back to like the even the creation of the freaking alarm clock. Like, did you know it literally was a job for people to walk around and bang on people's windows?
Oh wow. Okay. And
I
they got
don't
mad at
know
the alarm clock.
what time to go there, but I'm guessing it was like, the sun setting, or they were able to tell the time, I guess.
Yeah.
But and the alarm clock was once like just for the bougie.
Okay.
People couldn't afford it.
Yeah.
And there was controversy that the alarm clock was going to ruin and change society.
Wow.
Think about life without an alarm clock, different society.
Yeah.
So this always happens. It's the cycle.
Yeah.
It's the tech cycle. It happened with NFTs. It's happened with crypto. It's happened with it happened with the internet.
Mm-hmm. True.
There's plenty of articles of people saying that the internet was a fad,
Yeah, that's true.
including Bill Gates.
Yep.
So
There you go. Yeah, absolutely.
just the way it goes.
Well, Craig, what I like to ask all of our guests when we get toward the end of our conversation is we are a pop culture podcast. So aside from your work with generative Gen AI and whatnot, what are you currently reading, watching, listening to that you could share with our audience?
Well, for me, I've my wife and I have gone deep into like advanced technology movies, basically AI movies.
Okay.
We've watched all sorts of things.
Okay.
Watched AI that was by Kubrick and Spielberg.
Mm-hmm.
Wasn't not very good, but you could see thematically some of the things that they hinted at that are starting to happen now.
Yeah.
Watched Ex Machina, which is a brilliant movie.
Yeah.
You mentioned her. We recently rewatched that, which, by the way, Scarlett Johansson is brilliant in that film, and you never see her.
Yeah. Very true.
She created that world that OS lived in.
Yep.
Yeah, so like I've been deep into that, and then I've become more and more of a futurist as time goes on. I am fascinated by the Spideyverse, the Spideyverse.
Oh, nice. Very cool.
Love the last movie that came out. We recently got a PS5, so we got the one that has a digital game. I've not had as much time to play it, but my wife has like dug in deep.
Yeah.
We recently just rewatched both of those movies, so that whole multi-timeline, fast me.
Yeah, it's Across the Spider-Verse. Both of them were fantastic. I can't wait for the third one to come out. It's going to be wonderful. I mean, not only just the writing and the storytelling, but the visuals are just
Yeah,
mind-blowing. Yeah.
agreed. Did you know for the second Spideyverse that or I think it was just for the entire Spideyverse, the original idea was actually pitched to the Flash.
Okay.
That franchise turned it down, so the writers took it to Marvel, and they did it with
Hey, why not? Yeah.
Spidey. It
That
works.
works. Yeah. Very cool. I know the newer movie, Sony's Spider-Verse, Madam Web, comes out pretty soon. So I'm curious to see how they're going to weave the stories there. So
I'm confused that they're actually including Spider-Man or not in that, because I've heard they are and I've heard they're not. And they also was it Andrew Garfield to the other one? Not Tobey Maguire, but can't remember his name.
Tom Holland.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then they scrapped all of it, but I don't know what's true anymore.
Well, from what I read, I think that one's set in like 2003, and so it's a younger Ben Parker. I know Adam Scott's playing that character, so I'm curious to see what they're going to do with that. It looks pretty good.
Yeah, I'm become a much larger like Spidey fan since the movies.
Right.
Those last two movies. I mean, I didn't actually see any of the Tom Holland or not Maguire, but the Tom Holland or Garfield ones, honestly. Also a little tired out on all the superhero movies. I don't mind them. It's just too many.
Yeah, no, I gotcha. I understand. Yeah, it can be. It's a little saturated, I think. Yeah, so definitely. Thanks again, Craig, for joining us here at Pop Cult X. We really appreciate your time. And now, if people wanted to follow your journey through AI or whatnot, where's the best place they can follow you on social medias and whatnot?
Well, there's my personal accounts, which you can find as at the Derbied one. That's DERBIEDONE. I'm pretty much everywhere at that.
Okay.
And then brand new accounts that I am just starting to ramp up but I'm half Filipino, so Filipinos in the metaverse. If
Oh,
you just
cool.
Google that,
Okay.
they'll come out. It's also We Are FITM, FITM, Filipinos in the metaverse. So
Very
you can
cool.
look it up.
Very cool. And you mentioned YouTube channel that you're starting up. Is that also at the Derby one?
No, the YouTube channel is actually Filipinos in the metaverse.
Oh, okay, cool. Cool. Very cool. I'll make sure to link that in the description box. And yeah, thank you again for your time today to chat with me about Gen AI and where the future's going.
Well, I appreciate it, man. Anytime.
Yeah, so thanks again to Craig for joining us and talking more about this AI art and more as it acts as like a tool for artists. I think that's what it comes down to is really it's another tool in the belt from paintbrush to camera to now computers. So
Yeah.
it's going to be a fascinating um future, I think, with the creation of it and trying to avoid being plagiarizing, trying to avoid the pratfalls that come along with it. But I think it's I'm excited about it. I mean, I'm not a futurist per se,
Yeah.
but I do like. I mean, I subscribe to the futurism website, so maybe I am. But it's really fascinating. I do like the whole when science fiction type stuff becomes reality.
Yeah.
So
Have you messed around with AI before? Have you
a little bit. I
around with
messed around with a little bit with Chat GPT and what was the other I think it's called like Stable Diffusion,
yeah.
and they're like both generative AI type of sites. One is mainly just text based and one is image based. So I took I took a in Chat GPT, I said, create me a superhero with XYZ traits, right? So it gave me this whole like biography of a superhero. Then I took that synopsis and put it into Stable Diffusion to create an image of what that superhero would look like. And
Oh,
it's
nice.
really cool. I mean, it's interesting. It came up with this like almost Batman-esque looking character, but it's really interesting to play around with. And I just say play around with because I'm not really going to use it for anything
Yeah.
specific.
Yeah, same here. I tried using, I think it's called Midjourney.
Oh,
Uh,
major, uh-huh.
yeah, and creating some similar stuff, like some superhero stuff. For me, I was trying to use it more as like a springboard of kind of brainstorming ideas and then using that image for then me to kind of draw myself
Okay.
and try to use as like a blueprint.
Yeah.
Uh, and I'm not one of those kind of people that draws what I see. I typically, just draw what's in my head. So for me, it's like more of a practice to have an image and then try to use it as a blueprint to create something. So that's what I've been using it for. I
Very
haven't
cool.
been using it to the extent of like posting the images or saying that, in itself is art or
Hmm.
anything like that. But there are some cool images that I came up with that were generated
Right.
by this AI. So pretty cool.
Yeah, I think it's really cool. I mean, I was thinking, so if you were to create your own AI server, right, for your own personal use. So it's not connected to um, Chat GPT or any of the Mid Journey or anything that's been trained with all these many artists and types of literature. Let's just say an artist, for example. I'm a comic book artist and I created my own standalone Mid Journey server or whatnot. And then I trained it using my own artwork, right?
Mhm.
So now it's learned nothing but my own artwork. So if I tell it to create a new superhero or something based on that, the only art style it knows is my own.
Yeah,
Does that make it more? Is it mine now? Anything it creates, since it's my style, can I just call it my own?
yeah. I
That's a,
don't know. I mean, it's definitely it's similar to artists that get interns and assistants that paint their paintings for them and then just
oh,
sign it, and
I
it's in
didn't know
their
that. Okay.
style. Yeah, like I think Coons does that. Who is Damien Hirst? does that where he gets people to, finish his work, or I mean, completely 100% do it on their own, and then they come and sign it, and it's
Okay.
within their style of work. So you have someone that can replicate your style,
Yeah.
and so
So that's similar. Yeah, that's very
that
similar then.
is, and that's accepted as art. There's
Hmm.
a lot of fashion designers that do that as well. Like,
Right. Yeah.
they are the head of a design house, but they have people creating designs that are within their aesthetic, and
Hmm.
then they take those designs and create it, and they're given credit for it. And so, I mean, we use that, then, and people don't say they're plagiarizing or stealing anything.
Right.
So,
So it's yeah, it's interesting. So we'll see how that pans out, I think, throughout the rest of this year and going into the future. I'm excited about it actually.
yeah, for sure. Me too.
Well, I think that's all I have for this week.
Yeah.
Um, so out there, everyone, again, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for sharing. Thanks for liking. Thanks for following. If there's any specific topic out there that you guys want to hear us talk about, let us know in the comments. Drop us an email. Find us on social medias, and we'll be happy to talk about that. I think I'd like to make a few more of our episodes more topic based. So drop us a line. Let us know.
Yeah. Until then, everyone, stay safe. Have a good rest of the 2024 as we kind of still move along through January and get into February. We'll see you shortly with another episode of Pop Cultex.
Bye, everyone.